Hey people, how you doing? Darren Carnell here. Welcome to part 41 of the Man with No Name painting tutorial. Today we are going to be aging the leather on the holster. Couldn't remember what it was called, and I can't talk either. Stupid brain. So we're going to be aging the leather on that. Shouldn't take too long. It took a while when we were doing the straps on the boots, but hopefully this will go a little bit quicker. I'm going to tell you what, let me bring in the other camera and I can talk to you from there. Hello. Right. So the buckle, the belt buckle that's on that strap, I'm not going to paint that until the last thing. That's going to be a metal sort of silvery gold colour, and I'm doing that last because aging this is going to be lots of brushes going over it. If I paint that first, it'll get painted over with brown paint and I'll have to do it again. So I'm going to leave that for now. One other thing I wasn't going to do it, but I sort of need to because it's also on the main belt that goes around his trousers. All this stitching that's been sculpted in. Now, that should just be a little sculpted detail, but on the belt, it's actually it creates a lighter coloured pattern. So I sort of need to paint that in, but I don't want to do it too much because any areas where the sculpting is uneven, it will highlight it. So I'm gonna lighten all of that like it needs to be done, but just not as bright as maybe it would be on the real thing. So it looks like there's something else there, but it's not, you know, shouting at you in your face to notice it. And then on the belt, it'll highlight the pattern a bit, enough to see that it's there, but not enough to go, look at me, I'm bright white and you can see me loads, because we don't want that. So, okay, aging. Probably going to use some chocolate brown, probably going to use some umber, probably going to use some... what do I want to use? Maybe a bit of bright red, I don't know. Maybe some yellow ochre, but probably not. Okay, let's grab a brush. That'll do. Okay, so we're doing two things here. We're adding shadows where we want shadows, so sort of the deep crevice bit where it would be a shadow, because this is a separate piece to that. This is a back piece that goes up, over the top and down. So that is supposed to be a gap. So we will paint that dark in there to make a shadow. But also we are aging the leather to make it look a bit old. So I'm going to get some chocolate brown. Now I'm trying to think of, there's two ways to do this. I either do it in thin washes or try and dry brush and swirl it around. And even at this stage when I'm getting the paint out, I'm still not sure which way I want to do it. I think I'm going to water it down. And do it with different smudged on layers. So this is a thin chocolate brown thing. I'm just at the moment randomly dabbing it on. I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I want it to be a bit darker in the middle. Sorry, can you even see that? And then blend it out to the edges. So it's a bit dark in the middle, a bit random, a bit all over the place, but a bit darker. And then just smudged out and blended out to the edges. And the same on this side, darker in the middle, blend it out a bit to the edges. And it can be a bit random, it doesn't matter too much. Let's get some chocolate brown in there. We're going to go in properly with some umber to create like a proper shadow, but I just want to get some chocolate brown there for the bits that don't get covered in umber. And allowing the dark bit to go a bit extra on the bits where there's movement in the leather, where things are folded, where things are moved, where things are touched. All of those bits we want to be darker. And again with the strap, so let's get some dark on there, some dark on there, maybe a bit there. And I'm just blending it around, smudging it around the place. Let's get some down there. Okay, get some more chocolate brown. I'm going to put some in these edges. Well, it's going to be shadow, but at least the bits that aren't complete shadow will have a different colour on. So let's get a bit in here where the gun's going. You're not going to see most of this because the gun is going to cover it, but just in case you can see a bit. You know what, let me open up the leather brown as well. And let me open up the umber. Okay, so I've got umber there now mixed in with the chocolate that we've just been using. So I'm just, same thing, randomly dabbing it around where I think it'll go, where I feel like I want it. And a lot of this is, some of this can be reference, you know, if you've looked at things previously to what you're painting. Some of it can be by feel, if you just think, you know what, I think it should be darker there. It's usually a mixture of the two. If I'm painting something, I usually try and look at, you know, a real world version of what it was beforehand, so I know what it would look like. But then a lot of it can be just feel, where I think, okay, right, that's leather, that's getting touched a lot in that place because that's a belt buckle, or that's just where someone's hand would go, and I darken it up there. So a lot of it is just, I don't know, instinct, intuition. But you can completely just look at something and go, ah, there's a picture of a holster, I like how that looks, and just copy it. You can completely do that. At least you know you'll be getting something that, you know, is a real world look, and you're not painting some fantasy version that is not realistic. So if you can see, if the camera's showing, we've gone from, I don't even know if it shows it that well, this sort of orangey light colour. This is starting to get darker now, and we're getting dark bits around here and around here and around here, and it's just building up layers of darker bits that make it feel like aged leather. But we want to leave some of the light brown showing as well, which is why I've opened up the leather brown pot. So if I feel like I need to put some back of the light colour, I can do. And it's sort of how I explained in the last video, I think, where I showed the back of my phone, which is leather, and it started out a really bright, almost orange leather. And after a couple of years of just me using it as a phone, it's almost black now. It's really dark brown. And that's what leather does. Picks up the oils from your hand and goes dark. Right, just try to get some paint on here so I can darken in this bit a bit more where the gun goes. And most of this isn't going to be seen. And it's also a bit random. There's no set pattern to how this would look. I think certain bits would look darker, so I'm going to paint them darker. Let's do a bit there. You know what, quite quickly, that's already looking good. Give me 1 second. Let me go over here to the leg part of the statue. I just want to put this on to have a look. I'm just looking at the legs that we did. There's the boots with a similar... These have been dusted sort of over, so they look dusty and old, so they're not showing the aging as well as when I painted it, but you can see there's light bits there and there's dark bits there. We've done the same thing on that as what we're doing on this, and I just wanted to see how it looks. Because there's going to be a belt. Now there's a continuation of this bit on the main part of the torso. I'm pointing over there because that's where it is. So the torso that comes up has got belts around here for his jeans, and this bit continues up and around. So we're going to have to do that in the same colour, but that's fine, I can match that. But that's quite good, I like that. And I can put some, you know, age and dirt looking stuff on there, but that's for the base colour of the leather. I actually really like that. I like that, I do. Awesome. Right, so I'm going to get a smaller brush. Bubbity. Let's get that one. I'm going to pick some... Have I got any dark colour? No, I haven't. Okay, let's get some pure umber. And I'm just going in here. And we've already, you know, gone in a few times and made it a bit darker, but I want it darker. So I'm just going in with a thinner brush to add proper shading in there, and then wipe most of it off, and then I can smudge it out. And the same thing on the other side. Let's get a little bit of water on there so I can thin it down a bit, and then I can dab around some thinned down bits to blend it out, but keeping the really dark bit in the middle. And I'm going to do the similar thing over here. This isn't as much of a cut in as the other side, so I'm not going to do it as much, but I do want to get some dark on there because it is a bit of a fold in. Wipe everything off and then just smudge it around. So I know I'm not saying much, but that's because I'm sort of not doing much different. I'm just literally going around with, at the moment I've just added some water to some of the umber, so it's thinner, but I'm just randomly adding dark bits here and there where I think it could do with it. And at the moment I'm doing some around the edges just because it felt a bit light. I wanted to break it up some more. So we've got the dark shadow that we did there. We've got the main part of the holster and the leather strap, and the strap having its own aging and stuff going on, especially where we think it's touched a lot, like the edge of the strap that would be, you know, held and pulled when they were tightening it. All bits like that. Now the back, let me check again how much of the back this part is seen, if any. Now then, as it stands at the moment, let me get that big brush back out. This part, when it's in the leg, sticks out a little bit. Imagine this finger is the leg. When it goes in, it sticks out a bit like that because this bit is slightly too thick to fit in. I don't know if it's because it's had primer put on it and it has widened the, you know, the size of it or something. I'm not too sure, but I can easily sand that down. So what I want to do, just in case some of this does show, I'm just going to quickly and roughly darken this back side. Now once I've sanded that plug down a bit and it will fit more snugly against the leg, there shouldn't be much, if any, of this back showing, but it doesn't hurt to just do some quick layers. To darken it a little bit. Doesn't hurt at all. You can take it over the edge, so in case it does get seen, so you've got a dark bit on this side and then it goes round to that side, so you can just imagine that it just happens to be a part where, you know, the guy grabs hold of it a lot and his fingers go round the edge to the back. It's not a thing that might necessarily happen, but it's something that could happen, and stuff like that just adds levels of details and realism. And essentially they tell stories, so you're telling a story with your paint, because you can tell, oh, he grabs hold of that bit, and when he gets hold of it, his fingers go round the back when he's, you know, lifting the thing up, and you can tell that just by where you've darkened it, because that's where his fingers go, because that's where his, the oils come off his skin. And it's a simple thing, and this is probably going to end up being completely flush against his leg and you won't see it, but you might, you know, see a tiny little bit of it, so it's good to show. But with most of that, I'm really happy with that. And what I might do when I've let that dry properly is go over and just add a slight sort of dusting effect, just to maybe make it a little bit desert like. I'll have to look at some other pictures to see if I can see what his looks like. There's not many very clear pictures that show it. Because it's leather, it doesn't pick up that much dust. So I think it's probably okay as it is. I might do a bit, I'm not sure. I don't know. I never know what I'm doing. What are you expecting me to know stuff for? Okay, so let's clean the brush. Now, in between the last video and this video, I did what I said I was going to do, which was I did an extra coat of the silvery gold colour on the gun, the side part and the back by the hammer. I was trying to remember it in the last video and I couldn't remember what it was called. It's called the hammer, isn't it? The bit that goes and hits the hammer. That was driving me mad in the last video. I still can't remember what the round bit's called. I forgot to look it up. Okay, so let me dry my fingers. Okay, so I did some of the extra silvery gold stuff around here and here. Did the underneath strip around here and did the back again. So we've got to age the black bit. We've got to definitely age all this. This changes quite a lot and goes brown and then blue and maybe a bit purple. We've got to do the sides here, which are all wood, and then the silver sculpted snake that's on both sides. So let's have a look. Where does this sit in? Alright, so that sits right in there, so I don't have to bother with the front of that because you don't see that. That's glued in there and that's how it sits. Okay, so let us start making a gun look old. Now, how do we do this? I don't actually know. I don't know. Stop expecting me to know things. Alright, let me pick... I want to get a brush that's not small and pointy, but not really big. Forgive me for a second. I'm looking through all of my brushes, trying to pick one that I think is going to be okay. I don't like any of them. Okay, fine. That one will do. I'll use one of my new ones. Okay, so we're using that. I was actually looking for a thing that had a wider, instead of thin and pointy, right, there's my finger, thin and pointy, I wanted sort of a wider brush, but that was still quite small. Sort of like that, but this one's quite curly, and I was seeing if I had a newish one, and I didn't, so I'll go with that, it'll be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to start throwing stuff on here. I've got chocolate brown, I've got leather brown, I've got some umber. I am going to want some, maybe some Arctic blue. I've got to see what different colours. Maybe some of that. Maybe some royal blue. I might want some purple at some point, so I'm going to get deep red so we can mix that with the blue and make a purple. Hang on, let me give that a shake. Shaky, 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 shaky. Okay. Now whether I get to do the blues depends on how quick this dries, because I'm painting layers on and then would need to wait for it to dry before I can paint the other layers on, but I might be able to, hopefully I'll just be able to get on with it. Okay, right. Let me just close that window down. Right. Okay, so I don't know. I'll start with some leather brown. I really don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, instead of water this time, I'm going to use some flow enhancer, just because I'd like it to sort of still move like paint and not water. Now this is going to be a lot of random sort of got no plan messy painting here, and also probably a lot of wiping with my fingers and a lot of dabbing, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I just sort of know the end result that I want. So I'm going to add some browns to all of this. Not so much around the edges because they're probably a bit cleaner. And then dab, 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 wipe, 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 I don't know. Wipe some off, throw some more back on. Wipe some off, throw some more back on. Let's do this round here as well. So this ends up very dark, but I'm starting off with the leather brown. I was going to end up with a much darker brown put on. So underneath isn't as much. I think that's going to be cleaner, but I've got to put some on, otherwise it'll look silly. Let's put a bit on the spines on the front and back. You know what, I'm going to do some of this colour over the black as well. Just to take it down from being black. Just to give it a bit of variation, so it's sort of black, but it's got some colour to it. And we can go over and do that again if we need to, and we probably will. I probably want to add some blue to that. I'm going to get some more because we've sort of run out and I've got to do the other side. So let's get some more thinner, mix it up. Okay, so this side, same thing again. Random splodging it around. Let's get some all in there, a bit down here. Let's wipe some off, doesn't really matter. Put some back on. Let's imagine that there might be more here where the bullets are inside, it fires the gun, there's a poof, and then some of the gas, like the hot gases, escape through this bit and start discolouring the gun there over time. So let's get a bit more on there, a bit more dotted around all of this bit. Get some at the front. Take it over onto the black, that's fine. A bit more onto the black there. Right, so carry on this side. So take this up all on the side, up on the front and back. So wipe it off a bit so we get like a clean edge around it maybe. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. In the words of Indiana Jones. Smudge it all over this. Let's clean a bit in the middle maybe. I don't know. Do some in the corners. Let's get a lot on those lines, a gap. Now the gold that I've painted has gone down into that gap, so I'm going to paint some shadow in that at some point. I'll put like just a dark wash of black in there or something. So add some more of this on the spine and smudge it around just to age it a bit. Let's do some under there. Let's get some in there, like a shadow. We'll probably come back with a darker colour in there as well. It's already starting to look like an older gun, which is what we want. Awesome. Right, let's give that a wipe. Oh, you know what? While I've already cleaned the brush. Doesn't matter. Let's dry the brush off. Let's get some of that brown back on. While we're here, I'm going to add some of the brown to the end of the barrel that's sticking out of the holster. So we're getting the same effect, and I'm going to take some and put a lot more. Let's actually get some more brown because that's run out. Bit of thinner, and I'm putting a lot, not that much. A lot more of the brown on, you know, that underneath part that I said sort of on the real gun seems to be, it looks like a thing that folds, like some guns I think, or some air rifles even have a bit underneath where you cock it underneath. Well, this has a bit here that goes underneath the gun that looks like it folds and pulls down, but I don't know what it does on this type of gun that's got a rear hammer. I don't know how this gun works, but anyway, this piece that's underneath is a separate piece to the barrel, so I'm just adding more brown to that, and I'm going to come in with some blue and stuff as well, but I just wanted to separate it. I'm just going in with my nail there to wipe out some of the excess. Bit of brown around the tip there, smudge it around. Cool. So that is already, I'll go in more like that. I don't want to push it in too far while I'm still painting it. Looking like, in fact, you know what I want to do while I've got this light brown here? I want to get some light brown around the edges of that strap, just because I feel it could do with some. You know, I said how it wants to have some of the original light colour shown through. Well, that's what I'm doing now. It's like, you know what, I've just thought about, as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, oh, let's put some light on there. So I'm doing that now. Not everywhere, I just want bits to show through. Okay, that's enough. Just wanted to add a bit of something to it. Okay, so let's try again. Clean the brush off. So this is where we are so far. So now I want to get, let's mix some chocolate brown, if I can get some on the brush, with some umber. I'm actually running out of these, so I can't see where the bottom of the paint jar is. Okay, chocolate brown and some umber. Do the same thing again, mix some thinner on there. Yeah, let's see how that goes. No idea. So again, random smudgy stuff. Smudge it around a bit. And here, don't mind having some bits where it pulls down a little bit and almost looks like a oil drip, even though there's not necessarily going to be an oil drip there, but it just adds a bit of character. And people do clean their guns with oil, so it's not beyond the realm of possibility that there could be oil somewhere on the gun, so it's fine to add stuff, even if it's not necessarily, technically accurate that it would be, or even if, you think, well, I don't really know if there would be, but there might be. Do it. Just add some stuff. Okay, building up. Let's do the same on the other side. Now at the moment with these colours, it's looking like I'm making the gun really rusty because it's got a rusty colour to it. It's not what I'm doing. It sort of looks like, I just realised it's looking like rusty metal. It's not what we're going for. And when I start putting blue on top of it and making it darker again, hopefully it'll lose that rustiness and just start to look like a gun that's been fired a lot, and the heat has aged it, as opposed to metal, breaking down and becoming rusty, which is not what this is. Okay, cool. So there's another set of layers on top. I don't want it to look like, if you see these guns and you see brand new ones, they're very shiny and brass and they look lovely. They look like lovely polished things. And his, whilst it's not going to be hundreds of years old, the one that he's using would look used, because you sort of imagine that he doesn't sit up with his metal polisher and a little cloth and keep it shiny. He keeps it clean so it works, but it's a used tool, so it's going to look old. So that's what I'm going for. So getting some umber and a bit of thinner, and we're starting to darken it down now. So let's see, on the ones that I've seen, the hammer is the same brass colour, but the back is a lot darker. So I'm going to add some of that there, and then darker down in this corner, darker down in this corner, and they go up to the side, which is a bit cleaner looking. And we can do a few layers of this, so this is cool. So darker again. So I quite like the idea that the front edge of this bit, where it's against the black, I'm going to call it the barrel. I know the barrel of the thing is the bit that sticks out, and I can't think of the name of this. The revolvery barrel-y bit. I really should have looked that up. I quite like the idea that it's, even though it's made out of sort of shiny brass and this is black metal, I like the idea that right here, where it's up against the, all the hot gases coming out as each bullet is fired, gets really aged. I sort of like that idea a lot. So we're going to darken that quite a lot on that edge. And take some background here. Do some on this side while I'm here. Let's get some in that corner. Okay, so let's do some down here. Let's get some more umber. A little bit of thinner, not too much. Whoops. most of this side is going to be covered because it's in the holster, and this side is, you know, inside the holster. But I'm still doing it just in case you can, you know, peek around the corner and see a bit of it. Okay. Right, let's get some... I want to mix a purple, a dark purple, so let's get some royal blue and some deep red. But I don't want it to be, it can't be just pure purple. I'm going to need to throw some chocolate brown in there maybe? I don't really know. Maybe some umber even. Okay, so I just wanted to get a bit of purple on there. Now I'm going to go in with, I'm going to put some pure royal blue on there. Let's water it down a bit. Also some blue dotted around the black metal. I'm going to smudge it around because I don't want it to be, it's not bright, it's just to tint what's there. Let me get a soft brush while I'm here. I just want to blend in a little bit what I'm putting on there, but not smudge it with my finger. I want to sort of just soften the edges. Okay, now I'm going to get some, whatever that is, what's that called? Arctic blue. It's quite light. Now this is going to be weird because this probably won't work. It's the colour that sort of happens in bits when you have this metal heat thing going on, but to paint it on just looks odd, so it's going to take a few layers probably to put it on but blend it in enough so that it, let's get some dark stuff going here. So that it looks like proper heat affected metal. Give me some umber. Umber, umber, umber. Umber, umber, umber. See, it sort of looks odd when it's separated. Hang on, try and grip that buffer, right? When you're doing it as a thing by itself. So the moment we've got this and there's nothing else painted, so none of the handle is done. So all of your eye attention, your gaze, is putting on these colours that I'm putting on, and your brain, and mine too, as I'm looking at this, goes, that's the wrong colour, that doesn't look right. But it doesn't when it's by itself. That's the thing. When the whole gun is done and you've got all the layers in there darkening it down, and because it looks like I'm putting on this really bright colour that doesn't belong. But when you look at actual guns that have been fired and they've got this bluing effect on, and there are people who know more about guns than me, who knows what it's called and all the rest of it. But when you see it, sometimes it just looks really, really subtle, and it almost just looks like the black maybe has a slight tint of blue. And sometimes you look at car exhaust or whatever, sometimes the metal gets so, the colour gets so changed by heat that it's more noticeable. But the thing is, you're looking at this and you're just looking at the bit that I paint. Whereas if you imagine that as a whole gun with a black barrel coming out the front and wooden grips and a silver thing and a bit under there and a trigger and loads of other bits, all of a sudden that just starts looking like a gun. An old, well-used gun, which is brilliant because that's what it is. That's what we want. We just want it to have this lovely tint of light blue, but to get that lovely tint of light blue we have to paint it on. And it can look odd when you first do it. Whoops, wrong brush. I'm really quite happy with that. Especially because most of that down there you're not even going to see. That's going to be glued in. It's just going to be one small detail on an entire big figure. That's quite good there. See what I could do. Let's dry that off. But I've lost all the umber, haven't I? Let's put some more dark on that back. Cool. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to grab some black because the trigger is supposed to be black. And what I want to do is, while I've got some of the blue, let's see, grab a bit of royal blue just to change it so it's not black, so it's a so it fits in a little bit with the rest of the metal. Now the trigger itself is sort of sculpted quite messy, but it's a small detail, and to be honest I think the trigger's covered by the holster anyway, so as it sits it's fine. So, got black trigger. We will have more what was I going to say? Alright, I'll do a couple more layers on that when it's dried, just to get rid of the metal underneath, the original goldy colour that's coming through, because we don't want that. But the rest of it's looking quite good. So all we need now is the wooden panels on either side, and I will be painting those to neaten up those gold lines that we've done. But what I'm going to do first is let that dry. This has already been over an hour. I will let that dry. I'll do the couple of extra layers on the trigger, so that's done. But the black metal, of this part with all the layers of the browns and the purples and the blues and everything on it to make it look like old, used, heated up repeatedly metal on a gun is all done, and the heat sort of transfers down to this bit and it's aged and warped and coloured all this bit, and this is cleaner down here. And then we're going to do the wood panel, so I'm going to let it dry. There's a hint of what it's going to look like when it's on his leg, which is great. Got all the aged leather worn out, all the oils from his skin is doing all this, making all this dark. Got to paint in the buckle, but we'll do that. So next video, and I can see straight away how I've got to be careful, because even just putting that in to show you, some of the paint came off. So I'm going to have to be careful with this. I'm going to have to do this and varnish it and glue it in, and not keep putting it in and out to show you stuff, because the paint comes off like it just has. Because the paint, the colour, sorry, the sculpt, what I'm trying to say, except my brain's not, my brain is in sort of fix the thing mode, and I'm trying to talk to you at the same time. Stop trying to talk to people when you're fixing stuff, Darren. The sculpt is quite rough in places, is what I'm trying to say, and so bits stick out that I hadn't noticed, especially if it's in bits, you know, like this, which is going to be covered with a gun. So I have to be careful if I move things around, and the bit that, if there's an edge sticking up, if there's a bump in the sculpt and it catches the paint, paint comes off. So I've got to be careful with that. So I'm just patching up the bit of the paint that just came off, and then what will happen is we'll do the rest of it. I mean, that gets covered up against the holster anyway, so you don't see this, so that's fine. But I want to fix it just because I want to know it's there. Right, fixed, patched up. So I will leave those, I will put them with the rest of the stuff. Let me go back to the main camera. There you go. Okay, so that's the gun. Ooh, excuse me. The metal of the gun, let's put it that way, done. We've got to do the handle, and so we've got to do the wood panels. Why is my camera gone so dark? Let's see, main camera. Oh, it changed, but it was zoomed as well. I didn't want that. Fine. How did I have it? Zoomed out? Yeah. Okay, so there's that, and it was brighter, wasn't it? That'll do. That's fine. That's fine. Hi. So we've done the holster, we've done all the aging of the leather, we've done all that, we've painted the barrel of the gun, we've done the gun, the metal, the black part of the barrel part. I'm so gonna look up what that's called. We've aged it with browns and blues and reds and purples. We've done the goldy brass part of it, and we've heat treated those, which is essentially what they are. It's like blowing a blowtorch on it, and eventually it changes and it goes dark and gets blues and purples and blacks and browns. We've done that to all of that. So I'm going to let that dry properly, and then we'll come back and we will paint the wooden panels on the sides and the sculpted snake, which is, I think it's a combination of silver and gold, brassy coloured. So what I'm going to do is I'll paint it in silver and then go in and give it brassy gold accents, and then weather it and age it. But the wood panels will be done how you would expect, painting combinations of dark and medium and light browns to create a wood look, and it will be like a highly varnished wood look, because it's a thing that has to last long. So we will varnish that slightly different from the rest of it. The rest of it won't be super shiny, but that bit will be. Well, not super shiny, but it'll be shiny because it'll look like varnished wood that's supposed to last because it's hard wood. So that is that done. So next video, handles, and that we're getting closer. We are flying through the things now. Now that we're not doing big massive areas of ponchos, we're getting through things quicker, because stuff like this is more on the scale of the heads that I normally paint, where you can do a thing, you can do a video and get a load of things done in one video, which is fun. It's better, but everything has to be done. So if you have to do a big area of stuff, you have to do a big area of stuff. That's what you need to do to end up with a massive, cool, awesome display piece, which this is going to be. Because I'm not even necessarily a massive fan of Clint Eastwood or these films. I like them. I like westerns. I like Clint Eastwood fine. But I would never have thought of, collecting one. But this piece, seeing it painted, is like, oh, that's going to look amazing. So, getting closer now. Handles next video. Then after that, the belts on the trousers to match the holster. And the shirt and the hands, and that's it. Getting closer and closer. I'm just putting these gun pieces over there to keep them safe so I don't accidentally knock them. Okay, that was part whatever it was. I said it at the beginning. I've forgotten what I said now, because when I concentrate on things, my brain forgets everything. I have the worst brain. So that was part whatever it was. I think it was 41. But it was part what you've just watched. That's what part it was. I hope you found that a little bit interesting, a little bit useful maybe. It was fun because it was doing something different. I don't think I've ever painted a gun before. I think that was the first time I've ever done that. And it was fun making it look like burnt metal. Heated, over time, repeatedly metal. And that was fun. And doing the wood paneling, the grips on the side of that will really complete the look. And even with that, it's just a little tiny bit on the side of the statue. It's not even like, if it was a thing by itself, you'd be looking at it. It's just going to be a little bit stuck on the side, and people are going to be looking at his face mainly. But it's going to be there, so it'll be cool that it'll look like a gun. So that was fun. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for sticking around for an hour and 10 minutes. Flipping heck. When I get into something and I'm really having fun and I don't want to stop, the time just goes whoosh. Anyway, I will see you in the next video. Have a good day, have a good evening, have a good weekend, wherever you are. And whatever time you're watching this, I don't know. Have a good day. There you go. Look after yourselves, look after everyone else. Be nice to someone for no reason whatsoever. Just do that. And I'll see you next time. Take care, and go make me a coffee, please, because I really want a coffee. No milk, 1 sugar, please. Thank you.